Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Greetings from my bhajan kutir in Vrindavan. Let me see where I am at. Okay, reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Canto 10, Chapter 46, Text 49. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kim sādhayiṣyaty asmābhir bhartuḥ prītasya niṣkṛtim tataḥ vadantīnām uddhava kṛtāhnikaḥ. Is he going to use our flesh to offer funeral oblations for his master, who is so satisfied with his service? As the women were speaking in this way, Uddhava appeared, having finished his early morning duties. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vancha Kalpa Tarukyascha Kripa Sindhu Payevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greeting from Vrindavan, and we're reading a nice Vrindavan pastime. I guess just catch you up to date. Easy flight, slept from the airport to here. But traveling makes a man old. It takes 72 hours to physiologically adjust, where everything is. You're gone for 6 months. I went to Govardhan to check places where some of the people will stay. It's an absolute mess. The Jagannath Priya will go there and hire some people, so much junk from construction. Then I got back and went to register. Interesting, I have a student visa. Just an interesting thing is when I went to the airport and they saw they had a student visa, I heard the guy say to the other person, laughing, he's in his 70s. How can he be a student? They were very amused. And it's the second time within 2 weeks that I was confronted with the external perception that I'm an old man. I'm just trying to adjust to that. But anyway, I went. It was a 4:30 appointment. The class begins at 5:30, and kind of rushed back here for the class. But just settling in to Vrindavan. Nothing's organized yet. It's hard to be, everything you got to organize. But there is a reason to come to the Dham. And it's not that I have special qualification or I can access anything. it's because there are people here who can. And really, Sanga is everything. Sanga is everything. Even I was riding in the car with Raghunath Vrindavan, who's just a gem of a Vaishnava, who just assists me here in every way. And he just has a service attitude, and was just talking about Guru Tattva. And he was quoting from Madhurya Kadambini that what it means is someone has a realization, and a deep realization, and that deep realization can be communicated. So there are people here that are very, very qualified, and getting their association is worth any of the other inconveniences you have. That's patience and that faith. They're two of the most important, favorable qualifications for bhakti. That what you're getting and what you're aspiring for is so good that it's worth whatever price you have to pay for it. That has to be the mood in Vrindavan. It just doesn't work like other places. And it's not meant to work like other places because there's a spiritual force. You can't rest here in spiritual life. You got to be intensely moving in the direction of the service of Krishna. And that's hard because we have the false ego, and the false ego means I'm the enjoyer and controller. So when things don't move according to our desire, we become upset, we become disturbed. And Vrindavan is certainly not going to move according to our desire, nor is it going to allow us to have an illusion of control that we can. So it can be a frustrating place if you don't keep the objective or goal in mind and how valuable it is. Then you're kind of happy. I have jet lag too. So association, so fortunate. Boyjan Prabhu called me. Haven't seen him in 3 years. It's like we never left. He invited me for lunch. He came a half hour earlier. And it's inspiring. It's inspiring that someone has taken the time to qualify themselves for the deeper practices of Krishna consciousness, following it exactly in a line from Prabhupada. I remember 20 years ago, he went to Perth and he started with the first canto and went right to the 10th canto. And then started a study guide on the CC in depth. And then it really impresses in your heart that this worship of Sri Radha and Krishna, Anarpita charim charat karunaya vatirna kalo samarpiyatam unato jvala rasam. So bhakti swayam, that's what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. He came to give. And because we are so impious, he gave us a mission of mercy to participate in, which is Sri Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada Sankirtan movement, to participate in, to get that niṣkṛtim. They're not disconnected. They're not this, so just being with him and seeing his realizations, inspiring. And then I came back, and at 5 o'clock I met Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Swami, sadhu of sadhus, here to at least until the passing of his disciple Krishna-katha Swami. But just to see, the weather here also, it's still quite hot, and I usually regulate my body, but it does fatigue you. But to see him in just that sadhu mood and that sadhu place, understanding the depth of his dedication to Prabhupada, the level of his detachment, it's inspiring. And then a special surprise, when I got back to my room, and of course I was up late, Indradyumna Swami's assistant came with a message for me. It was just too much. His appreciation for me and wanting to see me, and let's make an appointment. So I'm actually going to stay in Vrindavan a few more days. And these are just the senior Vaishnavas, but there's other Vaishnavas here, dedicated and inspired, really came to that point of Sharanagati, the door to Bhakti. They took in shelter of the truth, the absolute truth is coming through the lineage. And that real dedication that I want to realize it, and therefore I want to follow it strictly. I want to follow it. And then I walked over to in the morning, because there'll be 22 Colombians here. Sham Sundari told me to take them to the flower gardens. There was so much rain here, uncharacteristically, that I stepped in the mud with my shoes, and there was no way to get it out. Shoes broke, just walking barefoot in Braj. And then going to Govardhan, seeing a Sikh Krishna Maharaj, another saint. When he was in his teens, he had a dream that Krishna took him and placed him by a mountain. I think he's been 30 years in Govardhan. You have to, there can be nothing in your mind but service. Otherwise, you don't last there. But sitting and taking prasadam with the Vaishnavas and really superb. And then here I am, and we'll talk about Krishna Leela. Oh yeah, when I came, the day I came in the morning, taxi dropped me off at 2 in the morning. I told him to come back at 9:30. And it's not just the material consciousness, but being in the plane, and then being in Braj, being in the Holy Land, and to kind of to enter. So I immediately at 9:30, a taxi picked me up and took me to Radhakund, and just took a sacred bath. And the water is so warm, I just waded in the warm water just to get the proper consciousness. Proper consciousness to try to understand something of what we are talking about now. Uddhava, who brings joy, literally means joy. He's delivering a message to the residents of Vrindavan. And he's supremely qualified to do so. That very first birth, Sishya Shakshad, Brihaspati, Uddhava, the supreme intelligent, direct disciple of Brihaspati, Sakya, Krishna-katha, Sādhayiṣyaty, the beloved friend of Krishna, who is the topmost counselor, most qualified person that has to deliver a message, means he has to have some realization to do so. And he's sent to Braj to please Krishna's parents and relieve them of their distress. And also, even though he is Sakshad, Sishyas, Brihaspati, although he is the direct disciple of the most learned Brihaspati, the most learned scholar, and he learned all subjects. This is rahasya, this is confidential. This is not just intellectual, this is revelatory. Intellectual, you can understand by your intelligence. Revelatory, the understanding has to be given to you. Otherwise, you can never figure it out, because it's beyond the laws of cause and effect. You can't just come to an intellectual conclusion. It has to be revealed. And I make this point very, very often, that what we are more than anything else is our love. There are daughters and sons here. There are mothers and fathers here. There are friends here. There are teachers here. There are students here. There are lovers here. That's what you are. And the most essential part of your being can never be understood intellectually. It's understood when someone trusts you with that realization of their very self. And a person only trusts when they see one's love, which is exhibited in service. That's why we glorify Rupa Goswami as Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Napitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadhantikam. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam, the secret of Lord Chaitanya. Tesham Satatayuktanam Bhajatam Pritipurvakam Dadami Tesham Satatayuktanam Bhajatam Pritipurvakam Dadami Buddhiyogam Tvam Yena Mamuvi. It's given. It's that knowledge is given. So he doesn't really have this knowledge. But his job is to understand it so that he can effectively communicate Krishna's message to alleviate their separation. And so he also can communicate that. So we're in these scenes where he's trying to pacify. Oh, say have cat there. Oh, hope I don't fall asleep. He's trying to pacify Nanda and Yasoda, and really trying to pacify them by different means. Trying to enable them to digest what's happening, and he spent all night. He wasn't able to convince them. And then we saw the love of Mother Yasoda. She couldn't see him. She couldn't consider him. She could, Sandrandana Visheshatma, her thickness of her separation and her feelings for Krishna. She could not see anything else. She could not see that a guest has come to her home. And all night, Nanda Maharaj, Uddhava tried to pacify Nanda Maharaj. All night. But Nanda Maharaj's emotion was so strong that it could not be overtaken by any intellectual consideration. It was so strong. He tried all night. And then the gopis woke up. And then he gets a vision of, he gets a vision of Vrindavan. Because it's not a material place. So it doesn't conform to our our space-time continuum. It doesn't move by laws external to the potency of the Leela to bring rasa or the love for Krishna to its height. That's the law. It doesn't fit into our laws of space, of reality, of sequence. It doesn't fit. So somehow, when Nanda Maharaj, the whole night, he couldn't convince Nanda Maharaj, then the gopis wake up and start to churn the butter, the yogurt into butter, and they're singing songs and their bangles, the churning of the milk and the songs that they're singing, it merges into space, and it creates all auspiciousness. And we can feel that, I really felt, I told you at the Vyasa Puja this year, I think it was one of the most memorable. And it created an atmosphere of auspiciousness that invoked joy and happiness in everybody's heart, even if that wasn't their natural constitution, even if they had issues and problems, and this temporary material world is full of suffering and takes shelter of the whole. So it can create auspiciousness. It can bring you above the platform of illusion, which includes the inflated importance of what this soul is doing in this world to control and enjoy it, and the success and failures one has in that. It brings you way above that reality that we live in, that we construct. We construct these realities. We don't know, but it's hard to identify, but previously household life, one can become attached. I don't see hardly anybody getting attached these days, but for the wrong reasons. But they could become attached to household life. And that becomes your reality. The house becomes the eternal abode. The relations become our eternal relationships. And therefore, you are in bondage, and it's hard to break. It's hard to achieve. Muktir, hitva, yata rupam, hitva, to kick out, to give up, yata rupam, that which is external, the superficial form, to embrace Srupeṇā vivastita, to be situated in our own Sarup. It's auspiciousness, very powerful spiritual events where you recreate the spiritual world where people are in harmony, focused on God. And that type of atmosphere uplifts you and gives you a vision beyond the self-centered conception where this little world takes on an eternal meaning. The consequences seem to be eternal. The anxieties seem to be eternal. But it's able to extract one. Anyway, he saw beautiful, the auspiciousness created, the beautiful singing from the hearts of the gopis as they're preparing foodstuffs for their sons who they know Krishna will take. And they're just singing out of joy, and there's kirtan, and there's banging of milk pails, and there's mooing of cows. And it's all beyond duality because it's all related to Krishna and his beauty and his attractiveness and his love and his dealings. So he sees that too. And then he'll see the other side of love. What do you feel like when you're deeply separated from that? So they get up and then they see a chariot and they think it's Uddhava's chariot, but they don't know it's Uddhava's. They think maybe this is Akrura's. And they're so angry at Akrura. He is the one, the servant of Kamsa that took Krishna to Mathura. He is the cause of their distress. And that perhaps he's returned after he who has fulfilled the desire of Kamsa. Oh, the servant of Kamsa. He's come. And then with love for Krishna, and frustrated because Krishna is not there, which leads to transcendental anger in love that makes you be even closer to the absolute reality. He's taken Krishna. Now, Kamsa, his master, has been killed. Is he going to take our flesh to offer oblations to Kamsa, who has passed away, who is so satisfied with his service of taking Krishna? Is he going to use our flesh? Is he going to use our flesh? He's already killed us in spirit. Now he wants to kill us in body. But Uddhava appears. It's not Akrura, it's Uddhava. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tam Diksha Krishna Nuch. Wrong glasses. I gotta get my. Tam Diksha Krishna Churam Vrajyastiya Palam Babahum Navakanjalochanam Pitambaram Pushkara Malinam Lasam Ukara Vindam Parimishta Kundalam Suvismata Koyam Apivya Darsana kutasya kasyatruta veshabhushana iti smasarva parivavrur utsakas tam uttama shloka padam bhujastayam. Sukadeva Goswami said, and now you'll feel the rasa. What are these young gopis feeling? The young women of Vraja became astonished on seeing Lord Krishna's servant. Astonished, increasing their love. Yabachari Bab, who had long arms, whose eyes resembled a newly grown lotus, who wore a yellow garment and a lotus garland. A yellow garment and a lotus garland, and whose lotus-like face glowed with brightly polished earrings. Who is this handsome man, the gopis asked? Where has he come from, and whom does he serve? He's wearing Krishna's clothes and ornaments. Saying this, the gopis eagerly crowded around Uddhava, whose shelter was the lotus feet of Lord Uttama Shloka, Sri Krishna. So this is really exciting for them. They're hanging on a thread of Krishna's promise that he'll return. And because this is the supreme love, in separation or in union, they're completely absorbed in him. And as Prabhupada said, it's not static, it's ecstatic. It's churning, it's emotions. Who is this handsome man, the gopis asked? Where has he come from and whom does he serve? He's wearing Krishna's clothes and ornaments. So his father is the brother of Vasudeva. So he's the cousin. So he very much resembles Krishna. Saying this, the gopis eagerly crowded around Uddhava, whose shelter was the lotus feet of Lord Uttama Shloka, Sri Krishna. Tam prashrayena vanitasu satkritam savidaha sekshana sunrata divi rahasya aprichan upavishtam asane vigyaya sandesh param ramapate. Bowing their heads in humility, the gopis duly honored Uddhava with their shy, smiling glances and pleasing words. They took him to a quiet place, seated him comfortably, and began to question him. For they recognized him to be the messenger from Krishna, the master of the goddess of fortune. So they're very, very shy. The gopis are very, very shy. They're very, very chaste. Even when they left in the middle of the night to see Krishna, they went in a group. But this only indicates how high their bhakti, anukulyena krishnanu, or their desire to please Krishna was. That there could be no obstacles, like the river that flows to the sea. You can't stop it. There are no obstacles to spontaneous devotional service because there's nothing greater than it, and there's nothing more painful than giving it up. So they even were so renounced that they gave up their good karma, that they were married and have beautiful children. And they had reputations. They had such fine reputations. But it just shows you that there's nothing higher or pleasing or more right or proper or just than dedicating oneself fully to God, because that's what we're made for. We are something. We are not nothing. And something is made to do something. It has a telos, it has a purpose. Our purpose is to serve Krishna. And Prabhupada gave that example why service is the Jiva Dharma. It's the Dharma of the living entity. And essence means that quality which cannot be taken away. What is our essence? It means the quality which cannot be taken away. Right now, our gender, so many things can be taken away. If not this life, the next life. But what is in us that cannot be taken away? And it's the desire to serve. And Prabhupada gave that example. Now it's not just old ladies, but previously an old lady who lost their husband, they would get a dog and they would serve a dog. I am going on. The gopis said, Janimastvam yarupate parshadam samupagatam bhartuḥ prashnita pitror bhavan priya chakirshaya. The gopis said, we know that you are the personal servant of Krishna, the chief of the Yadus, and that you have come here on the order of your good master, who desires to give pleasure to his parents. So they're going to be very, very angry. And they're going to reach a very, very high state of ecstasy, where the emotion becomes so powerful that it has no, their actions has no correlation with being guided by any intelligent social thought. And it begins with some even criticism of Krishna, but out of love, because they love him so much. So you came here, why? To give pleasure to parents. All other love, they'll say, is motivated. You didn't come for us. You don't care about us. Okay. I'm going to have to end here. I did make extra effort to rush from the registration office. I'm sorry I didn't have the light on the whole time. That would have been helpful. I rushed from the registration office. It was like, so, but Jumanajai, you can start it off if you have any point you remember, and then I can say hello to the various people. And by next Wednesday, I should be pretty much in gear. Yeah.
Hey, Krishna Raj. Thank you for class. It was wonderful to see you there. The minute Diksha came on, just to picture where you are. So thanks for making the effort. I know it's.
I like this. Yeah.
But I just this verse, just the reading of it, I was like, this is what I would say is high drama. Like, will he take our flesh? You know, it's so dramatic, and it just shows their mood of like the spirit of what they were in. So I particularly just love the verse itself, that they're like, so their emotion for Krishna is so high. It's so beautiful.
It is. It is. There's so many emotions that come from love, including jubilation and anger and disparagement and so many things. But somehow or other, it's on a different platform. And it's all the highest transcendental pleasure.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you. Anybody else? Gail, you have anything to say? Okay. Anybody like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Tota Gopinath here.
Hey, Haribo, Tota.
So great to see you in your room.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, it's funny. I expected when I come back, the room would have been more of a wreck than I came. But mysteriously, things fixed itself. And there's no other explanation how it happened. I can't even explain the things that weren't working that are working. So that was really good.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So, but it's a little humid. I'm not, you know, I got cushy cush in you know, Jack's place, you know. So it's jet lag and it's a little bit exhausting, but and then the thing is, because you don't have your food together, you know, you start eating a lot more sweets. Like someone said, I brought the Mahaprasadam, and it's like this huge lemon cheesecake. You know, I mean, so it's like I probably have more sugar in the last week than I've had in the last year or something. But it's but it's great. It's great to be here. And I'm looking forward because tomorrow the devotees from Colombia will come. We'll go to Sridhar for the rotis, go on Govardhan Prikram the next day, and then settle in Govardhan. Quite a few nice people are coming. See Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Parthasarthi Goswami is coming. So it's really been nice. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
You made it back home.
Thanks. Anybody else? Hello?
Haribo Prabhu. It's Jayanta. Nice to hear you. Nice to hear you from Vrindavan. It's great.
I got the blessings of Mahesh.
Yeah.
He said, "You, my friend, you send your friend for business."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's nice to be back. It's like you never left. It's amazing. When I saw Borijan, it's like you never left, you know. And yeah. Okay, Haribo.
Haribo.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Gurudev, thanks for the class. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
You will not let your mother go back to the ocean.
I will go next week. Yeah,
are you burning your hijabs there in Tehran? I hope you're behaving yourselves. It looks really hectic there. It just looks like more chaos in the world, you know?
Yeah, the whole country is in a bad situation right now.
Oh, yeah, I could see we get a few things here, but when I was thinking that, I said, well, hey, maybe something will happen, and then I can finally go and do my
Maharaj.
My eating tour of I would have it planned out, you know, my eating tour of Iran. I was thinking,
actually, I had a little bit of hope because your words are always true. And last week you said, if your country gets liberated, you will come here. Then I was like, hopeful, maybe something happens.
Obviously, I'm the cause of the whole thing. Obviously. So it's so obvious because right after I said that, it happened. It's so obvious. Okay. Anybody else? Say hello.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, this is Lal Govinda.
And Bridget, thank you for class.
Thank you for class.
I was with your main man, Raghunath Das.
Mm.
He's the most loving, serving soul.
Oh,
yeah.
He just is. I mean, he just is. He just service. You know, there's not what he does for me in getting that thing. He drove me today with his man to see our building, see what's done. You know, he gives his driver, gives his people. So he's really great. And wherever he goes, he's really loved. So, yeah. Okay.
Very well.
Say hello.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for
hey, good to see you. How you go?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Can't resist so that you can transfer as much of the Vrindavan mood as possible.
Yeah, yeah. I still remember that picture of you on the bank of the Jamuna.
Exactly.
Your first name, right?
That's when I first met you. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting too. It's a whole different. When you get older, it's a whole different. The drama is not worth it anymore. The drama is the last thing, you know, winning or whatever. It's just and relationships go so far beyond institutional concerns.
Exactly.
You know, there's real relationships. It's not just guru disciples, god brothers, this, that. There's just real relationships. You've been with people for 30, 40 years, and that means a lot. And they're still your friends, and they still know you. And you can see it. You can feel the Chaitanya Charitamrita as the Vaishnavas come, who we haven't seen in a while. You know, it's great. It's really great.
Be safe,
But,
Maharaj. Yeah.
okay.
Sorry, Cole.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Shigandarvika.
Shigandarvika, this is your Sunday off. Okay,
Yeah.
great. It's great that you come. And yeah, I'm just hoping in the future, you know, that you get this foundation down, you'll have some freedom and you can come out to Govardhan and visit some of your friends.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, but you're doing it the right way, in the right order. Yeah, I think bhakti is like that. You know, I just saw with Burijan how he diligently studied, you know, really wanting the highest thing, but really working on the qualification for it, you know. So it's good. You set things up in a way that you're free and you can come every year. And there's, you know, it's just so relishable to be in this holy land of Vrindavan with the Vaishnavas. So, yeah. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for class.
Isabel, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I
Good.
plan to go in India end of January, February. I need more details.
Oh, you have Jagannath Priya's, oh no, she doesn't have, just send me an email. I'll give you all the details, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Send me an email. I'll give you all the details. Anybody else?
Hi, Krishna Garaj. This is Kishore Radha.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay, I'm looking at all the names, so I see. I'm sending my wishes to all the people that came to the class. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a more kind of I'll be more awake consciousness. Okay, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhave.